Took a much needed day off, but we are back. It's Krusty K's here from the Gold Boys Network coming with the slate preview for May 3rd. Before we hop into this one, I want to remind everybody you can get all these odds at FanDuel Sportsbook, but we're not going to waste too much time on that. Let's hop right into the slate. First one on this slate is the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. This is Bryce Wilson versus Zach Wheeler. You look at this one and right away, obviously, you see Zach Wheeler. You think of the ace, you think of who he is, and you want to back him. And I mean, and I lean that way too, truthfully. But I'm not all the way there. So for me in this one, I am going to go Phillies on the money line. It's going to likely have to be the run line, -1.5. That's the way I'm going to go. But I haven't quite gotten myself to the window in terms of actually placing the bet yet. But for this purpose, for this show, that's where I'm going to go. Phillies -1.5. I like the Phillies here. You get a Milwaukee team who is starting to strike out quite a bit more against right-handed pitching as of late. And then when you look at how they're striking out, so they don't swing a ton. They're taking a lot of called strikes. And then when they get to 2-strike counts, they just don't have the guys who can put the bat on ball consistently. They were a bit better in this past series against the White Sox, but the White Sox pitching staff obviously isn't, Zach Wheeler. So I think they struggle here at Wheeler. And on the other side, the Phillies, overall, they're still hitting the ball pretty well. They've cooled off a bit as of late. WRC Plus has dropped around 93 over the last 2 weeks. But Bryce Wilson, not a guy who, is going to shut his team down. I like the Phillies to kind of bounce back here at home, get the bats going, kind of wake up a bit. Our next one is the Washington Nationals taking on the New York Mets. This is going to be Mackenzie Gore versus Tyler McGill. So for me in this one, obviously Mackenzie Gore, it's a guy I like to back probably a lot more than most do. I do have a small lean to his over on his strikeouts. I think it's a decent matchup for him. Mets haven't seen a ton of good lefties, so I think this could be a spot where Gore could definitely rack him up. I mean, he's a guy they're relatively familiar with, so I don't love the spot. But in terms of lefties they've seen, when you look at the list, it's just not impressive. So it feels like a spot where Gore can get his Ks. On the other side, Tyler McGill's looked pretty good too. A lot better than he looked last season. Seems to have altered his pitch mix a bit. Velo seems up quite a bit. And I like him to pitch well here, truthfully. I'm going to roll with the Mets on the money line. I know, you see Mackenzie Gore, and a lot of people like to back him because, again, it's kind of like that ace-type name, so people are familiar with him. But Tyler McGill's look really good. And I'm going to back him to, hold this Washington team down. They're really not hitting well right now, right around league average. CJ Abrams, I believe he just left this last game with an injury, so he could be out, which is huge because that's, their leadoff hitter, a big bat in their lineup. So I like the Mets here as a dog on the money line. I think it's a great spot. And like I said, over for both guys' Ks. I think both guys have potential to rack them up here. Our next one is the Baltimore Orioles taking on Toronto Blue Jays. This is Grayson Rodriguez versus Kevin Gausman. So in this one, you have two teams over the last 2 weeks. I don't want to say trending in different directions, but I mean, both teams pretty K-adverse. In terms of offense, though, Baltimore to me is the better hitting team here, but you get them on the road, so I'm a little reluctant to back them. But it is where I'm going to go with this. I like Baltimore here on the money line. Reason being is Kevin Gausman started the season out. He didn't look like the Gausman we're used to. He's pitched a bit better as of late, but I still see signs of that. He's still giving up a lot of hard contact, still a lot more balls in play than we're used to seeing. And he's going to see a Baltimore team that's obviously super familiar with him being in the same division. So I like Baltimore to get to him. And I think G-Rod has a better chance of slowing down this Toronto lineup just because Toronto, in my opinion, as we've talked about numerous times, doesn't put together the best at-bats. A lot of times you'll see some early contact, early weak contact for that matter. And I think it lends to Grayson getting into a bit of a groove and being able to pitch well here. So give me the Orioles on the road. There is no line out currently. I'm assuming they're going to be at least a small dog here, and I love them here. In terms of Ks, don't love either guy. Two very tough teams. Like I said, Baltimore's like 18% K rate over the last 2 weeks for righties. Toronto's even lower, around like 16%. So I probably small lean to the under for both guys, but I mean, it really depends on the lineup for me, because especially this Baltimore team, the bottom of their order, depending on who they put out, super, super high K percent if it's like McCann and those kind of guys. So I'd have to definitely wait and see before I pull on that.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Our next one is the Detroit Tigers taking on the Texas Rangers. This is Tariq Skubal versus Nathan Eovaldi. Texas continues to not hit lefties. Just a 167 batting average over the last 2 weeks. Over the last month, I believe it was 189. So just really not seeing lefties well at all. And now you got to face Tariq Skubal. This feels like a nightmare. The K's, I do lean over because this Texas team definitely has been striking out more against lefties. Ryan Weathers just had 11, I think it was. But, I mean, you can't really compare the two guys because they're totally different types of pitchers here. But I do think that Skubal can get his Ks. I really like the Skubal outs or even maybe like a Skubal under his earned runs. It's just a game where I like Skubal. I think he pitches really well here. Like I said, you get Texas, who's just not hitting lefties at all. It's actually kind of remarkable, truthfully, because you look at their lineup and you would think that they would be able to. The problem is a lot of their guys who do hit lefties strike out quite a bit and don't really hit for average necessarily. So I like Skubal to pitch well. On the other side, Nathan Eovaldi, I like him to pitch well too. You get Tigers on the road here. They've been way more susceptible to Ks on the road. And just overall, they just haven't been as good as they are at home. So I'm going to roll with the under here. It might be a little scary once it turns over to Rangers bullpen, truthfully. But overall, the Tigers really aren't like crushing the ball by any means. So I think they can hold them in check. I think we see a low-scoring one here. I like Eovaldi to pitch relatively well. He's still on a pitch count. He only went, I believe, like 3 1/3 in his first start back. He's coming off injury. So hoping to see him go 5 here. I'm going to have to deal with like 4 innings of bullpen. And ideally, Skubal gives us 6 or 7 on the other side. But, I mean, Tigers bullpen's one of the best in baseball, so I'm really not too concerned about them. Next one is the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Houston Astros. This is Kyle Gibson versus Justin Verlander. I'm rolling with the over. You get the Cardinals coming in. They're actually swinging the bats a bit well here. Average up to about 280 over the last 2 weeks. WRC plus right around 110. So really starting to swing it. Houston's about the same against righties. And they get Kyle Gibson, who, as we all know, getting a lot of contact, a lot of balls in play, which tends to lead to runs. If Houston has guys on, they got guys like Kyle Tucker and Jordan who can easily drive them in. So I like runs here. JV on their side, he's looked okay. I mean, he's 41 years old. I'm not sure what people expect from him at this point. For this Cardinals team, I think that he's catching them at a bad time. Like I said, they're starting to swing it a bit. The average is creeping up. WRC plus creeping up. The production's there. Goldie is finally starting to hit a bit. So I like runs in this one. Think it's high scoring. Think both these starters struggle. The next one is the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Colorado Rockies. This is Andrew Abbott versus Ryan Feltner. They're at Coors here. I'm going to go with the Rockies. I know, probably, a bit of a surprise. Who the hell wants to back the Rockies? I've backed them a few times against the Dodgers. We made it out okay, so I think that's, pretty good. But I like this spot for them, truthfully. Abbott, hasn't looked great. Whiff rate significantly down from last year. Going to Coors for the first time, obviously going to be a tough place for him to pitch. His stuff isn't going to do what he wants it to do. And truthfully, this season it's really not doing what it was doing in years past. So I think it's a tough spot for him. Feltner obviously used to pitching at Coors because he pitched there all the time. You get a Reds team who's really not hitting right now. They've looked good against the Cubs, but honestly, it was more of the Cubs pitching just being absolutely god-awful than Reds putting together good at-bats. You still had Ellie, with his, I think he had like 6 Ks in the last 2 days or something like that, and Will Benson not far behind. So, the Rockies here on the money line. I think they get this one done. In terms of Ks, I don't love taking overs, period, at Coors. Just not something I like to make a habit of. I have a very specific group of criteria I look at. Neither of these guys meet that criteria. But, if you want to just blind take an over, how do you not take Ryan Feltner? Reds over the last 2 weeks, 28% K rate versus right-handed pitching, and we know their contact rates are both equally as, chase and zone, equally as awful. So for me, if you have to take an over, Ryan Feltner, whether you use him as a parlay piece at a 4+ or something like that, I think his Ks are in play to some extent. This Reds team, and like I said, you saw Ellie, Will Benson, these guys, man, it's remarkable. I believe they're both top 5 in K% in the entire league. So when you got 2 of those guys on the same team, I mean, it's hard to not want to take overs against this team, truthfully. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our next one is the San Diego Padres taking on Los Angeles Angels. This is Matt Waldron versus Tyler Anderson. Give me the Padres. Waldron's been pitching really well. This knuckleball, man, it's working. He's found a lot of success against some of these teams, and this Angels team feels like one he can find success against too. Obviously, knuckleball, not a pitch guys consistently see. So he only goes about 5 innings. But truthfully, I mean, in that time where you get 2 at-bats against him, it's really not enough to do anything. Like I said, because the first at-bat, you're trying to get a feel for it. The next at-bat, he does something a little bit different. He puts the 4-seam in there, or he throws the sweeper, and it keeps you off balance. This guy, he just finds ways, truthfully. I've watched him pitch a couple times, and it's remarkable. But I like the Padres here. Tyler Anderson, I can never figure this guy out. Every time I think he's going to get lit up, he goes out and throws 6 shutout innings. Every time I think he's going to pitch well, he gets lit up. So I'm just going to say the Padres are going to win this game. I don't know how. It could be 1-0. It could be 10-0. I just like them to win this game. They're quietly crushing lefties right now. Top 10 in offense against lefties, both batting average WRC plus. So I really like them here in this spot. Tyler Anderson, as we know, a bit of a command issue at times. Hopefully the walks, guys get like a rise, and get those guys on. And then the big boys can do some damage for us and get us some run support for Waldron here. The next one and the last one on the slate is the San Francisco Giants taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. As of right now, the Giants haven't announced a starter. It's looking like a bullpen game unless something changes. And they'll be going up against Ryan Nelson. So for me in this one, I can't really pick a side until I know what's going on with the pitching situation for the Giants. But I'm going to go with the Giants team total. Ryan Nelson overall has just been very unimpressive to me. Last time he pitched, I believe they used an opener so he could avoid his first inning issues. And he actually looked quite a bit better. This time they're opting for the true start, which, I mean, anybody who knows anything about pitching, a lot of these guys are head cases. A lot of these guys are very routine, mental. So if what they did last time worked for him and he's able to pitch really well, now throwing him back to actually starting the game and pitching in the first inning, I feel like it's a bad idea, truthfully. So I like the Giants to put up runs. Like I said, Ryan Nelson just hasn't impressed me overall. Had a lot of early struggles, especially when he starts games. So look for him to struggle early. If you want to opt for like a Giants first 5 team total, I'm guessing it'll be like a super juiced 1.5 or a 2.5 plus money. I could be on either one of those two. But I'm going to roll with the Giants team total for my pick. In terms of Ks, Ryan Nelson, like I said, not a guy who's going to strike out a bunch of guys. He gets a favorable matchup, I suppose, because the Giants, although they're K adverse, on the road they've been terrible, like night and day different in terms of their metrics. It's not a spot that I'd be attacking personally, so I'd probably just leave it alone. But if you wanted to lean, I'd say small lean to the over for his Ks, but not anything I'm looking to jump on here. That does conclude our slate, though. If you guys do me a favor, drop a like, drop a comment. Last couple of days we've been rolling. I believe our yesterday was a little rough. We had a couple tough beats, but overall it's been a nice week. Looking to pick it up here with a new week. So new week, new bag. Let's get it going. As always, you can get all my plays at goalboys.com. And if you have a gambling problem, tell 100 Gambler. Thank you guys.